It's hard to ignore it at this point. I've waited a little bit too long, or longer than I should. We're going to talk about our boy Pierre Poilievre and how he's just going parabolic viral around the world. Even Elon Musk, owner of X, formerly known as Twitter, has taken notice of it and has listened to Pierre's Apple interview where he's in the orchard, what seemed to be interviewed by a farmer, but now has been debunked as a very left-leaning journalist who's making some crazy accusations. And Pierre, just like a Chad that he is, eats an apple and debunks everything, and it's pretty wild. So we're going to take a bit of a deeper dive into it. But before we do, I want to encourage you to give a like and subscribe if you haven't yet already, as well as remind you that there are still stickers available for purchase down in the description or the pinned comment below. I love Canadian oil and gas, and I did not see that coming, as well as a whole bunch of merch options, sweaters, hoodies, hats, and t-shirts and things like that. So you know where to find it, and let's just get into it. So you have Ian Miles on Twitter that says Pierre Poilievre gives a masterclass on how to handle a left-wing journalist, and he eats an apple while he's doing it. Now, we're not going to watch the video right now. We're just going to look at kind of how people that have of very notable status have talked about this. So Elon Musk himself replied to this saying, never heard of him before, but this interview is fire. And Ian replied saying he's Canada's last hope. Now, this video posted by this person has 8.4 million views. And then when you go to a different account, Pierre Poilievre casually smacks down a left-wing journalist while munching on an apple, posted the same day. This one has 14.2 million views. And Elon Musk also replies saying, guess he likes them apples. And then you have Sarah Palin, who's a massive individual in America, saying, ha, wink, Pierre Poilievre loves apples, U.S. politicos take note. And a bunch of people are commenting. Some are saying staged, whatever it is. It's pretty awesome how viral this moment has gone. And then you have actual community notes on a Liberal of Canada's official Twitter account. So this is actually the original one is this one right here. The Liberal Party says conservative math, red apples minus green apples equals more apples. It just doesn't add up. And this actually got hit with the community notes. And this is what I really love about X. And I'm not really big. I don't have a big presence on X, but I am trying to grow it. So if you want to follow me, link for that is down in the description. Is Mr. Sunshine Baby, like it is on every platform. And the community note says, important context is missing. Pierre Poilievre proceeds to state that waste would be cut, which was omitted from this post. The full interview can be found here. Furthermore, Pierre Poilievre has only ever promised to cut the carbon tax, which he states frequently. And the reason I love X so much is you skip the middleman. It's right from the people that are like in the interviews or the content creators or whatever it is, like the actual fact, and it's posted and it's usually raw, unedited. And people get to decide for themselves what's happening. And then you have community notes, which is a very thorough process. And you have like thousands, hundreds of thousands of them always working, always fact checking. And that's what I love about this, because you don't get that with the mainstream media. The mainstream media delivers you the news. They have their own fact checkers and they choose to have a biased opinion 99% of the time. And things just don't get fact checked then and there. So whatever they're saying, people take it at face value and they go and they believe it, right? We saw that with the trucker convoy, the Freedom Convoy in 2022, where they were saying that they're a bunch of terrorists and Nazis and yada, yada, yada. And then you had a lot of people that were under the impression that, oh my God, the trucker convoy is this horrible thing. There was no fact checkers. People had to go to social media to get the truth. And that's, I think, why so many people love X. So now we're going to take a look at the actual interview. I don't think I've really watched it in full, but sit back, relax, and let's get through this together.
They struggle to actually find young people to do work, and of course housing is a problem and healthcare is a problem. As was mentioned earlier, the hospital here gets closed quite frequently. Nothing to do with vaccinations, I don't believe. It's a doctor issue. It's more a shortage of doctors. So what do you do in the meantime? I mean, you've got lots of plans for building houses, etc. But in the sort of immediate spectrum, what do you do to
create a Blue Seal test to quickly license the 20,000 immigrant doctors we have in Canada. Many of them are prevented from ever working, and they give up on getting a job as a doctor, and they end up taking low-wage work for the rest of their lives. I'm proposing a simple Blue Seal testing standard that would apply right across Canada. Take the test, get the license, get to work within 60 days.
Okay, and I mean that obviously you're going to encounter some opposition from the College of Medicine, etc., across the provinces.
Yeah, that's
so how do you deal with that issue?
We push forward. There's not easy street leads to a dead end. Best hard roads lead to the best destinations. We're no longer going to accept that this or that gatekeeping bureaucracy stands in the way of obvious common sense solutions. It is unacceptable that 20,000 doctors can't work in Canada when we have a massive shortage. And when people come to me and say, yeah, but this or that clerk or bureaucracy is not going to be happy, that's life.
Right.
There's going to be a lot of vested interests and bureaucracies that are going to be very unhappy when I'm Prime Minister.
I do want to say, first of all, Pierre looks really good. His posture, the rebranding of not wearing the glasses, his hair, his suit, he looks very clean cut. When you compare his speech to the current prime minister, the unfortunate current prime minister, Justin Trudeau, Trudeau has different demeanor. Not that a built posture makes a difference, but Pierre, it looks like he's starting to care more about his appearance, which is important. Absolutely. Like, you should want to be the healthiest version of yourself, and he's setting a good example. So he looks like he's in shape. You stack him up side by side next to Justin Trudeau. Does it make a difference on who's skinnier versus who has more muscle mass? No. At the end of the day, it doesn't. But when you're looking at the leader of a country, you want them to be powerful. You want them to be good public speakers. You want them to have some sort of presence. And Pierre Poilievre seems to check all those boxes above and beyond what Justin Trudeau would ever and can ever achieve, which is fantastic. So right away, at face value, you have Justin Trudeau, the unfortunate current prime minister, and Pierre Poilievre, and people are just naturally going to gravitate to the better person off of, a few videos that they see, off of rhetoric that's being talked about, off of popularity, off of appearance, off of speech. And all of that is Pierre's strong suit right now. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I firmly believe, I'm just kind of joking, but there's some truth and validity to this. I somewhat firmly believe that Pierre Poilievre could do blackface twice and invite a Nazi into Parliament and still be ahead of Justin Trudeau in the polls, because Justin Trudeau has proven that despite all of the odds, miraculously, you can do those things and still get elected as prime minister and remain in office. Despite taking hundreds of millions or billions of dollars of taxpayers' money, despite taking bribes from massive people, right, from other foreign countries, you can still be the leader of Canada. So as long as Pierre Poilievre does just below everything bad that Justin Trudeau has done, I think that we're still looking really good, which is why the polls are showing that Pierre Poilievre is 99% likely to win the upcoming election. And above and beyond that, they're 87 or 90% likely to win a majority government, which is the best case news. We want Pierre in power. We want, anyone, I guess anyone in power other than Justin Trudeau. But when you're looking at who's the options are, I don't think the majority of us want leader of the Bloc Québécois, and we definitely don't want Jagmeet Singh. So we're left with Pierre Poilievre by the default option as the best option. But also, when you despite looking at default options, Pierre seems like the best runner out of all of them anyways. So now we're going to take a look at a bit of a more of a controversial point in this interview, where this very left-wing journalist tries to accuse Pierre Poilievre of being some sort of Trump individual, instigating, a hatred online, hatred rhetoric, and all of those things. And it just gets very easily debunked. And those are the moments that have actually caused this virality, this newfound virality of Pierre Poilievre, where he's tapped into an international audience. Justin Trudeau is known globally as an idiot, as a clown, as a failure. Pierre Poilievre has to make a name for himself. Now, does it make a difference in the polls for Pierre Poilievre to be, a name floating around within American politics or politicians? I don't know, but I think that the more popular someone can become, the better chances they have of actually winning a federal election. This isn't a high school prom king or queen or whatever. This is being the leader of a freaking country, man. So the more popularity, the better. So now let's jump into the more spicy moments of this interview.
On the topic, I mean, in terms of your sort of strategy currently, you're obviously taking the populist pathway.
What does that mean?
Well, appealing to people's more emotional levels, I would guess. I mean,
What do you mean by that?
certainly you tap very strong ideological language quite frequently.
Like what?
Left wing, this and that, right wing. I mean, it's that type of ideological thing.
I never really talk about left
But
or right.
anyways, a lot
I
of
don't
people
really believe in that.
Okay. A lot of people would say that you're simply taking a page out of the Donald Trump book.
Like which people would say that?
Well, I'm sure a great many Canadians, but
Like who?
I don't know who, but...
Well, you're the one who asked the question, so
yeah.
You must know somebody.
Okay. I'm sure there's some out there, but anyways, the point of this question is, I mean, why should Canadians trust you with their vote, given, not just the sort of ideological inclination in terms of taking the page out of Donald Trump's book, but
What are you
also,
talking about? What page? What page? Can you give me a page? Give me the page. You keep saying
in terms of turning things quite dramatically in terms of Trudeau and the left wing and all of this. I mean, you make quite a it's quite a play that you make on it. So I'm
not
just
sure.
wondering.
I don't know what your question
Okay,
is.
then forget that. Why should Canadians trust you with their vote?
Common sense.
Okay.
Common sense for a change. We're going to make common sense common in this country. We don't have any common sense in the current government. The guy prints $600 billion, grows our money supply by 32% in 3 years. That's growing the money 8 times faster than the economy. No wonder we have the worst inflation in 4 decades. I'm going to cap spending, cut waste, so that we can balance the budget and bring down inflation and interest rates. You'll want to be able to pay your mortgage again? You want to be able to afford rent? Then you have to vote for Pierre Poilievre, because I'm the only one with a common sense plan that will bring back the buying power of your paycheck. Second, I'm going to make work pay. Right now we punish work. They're asking, why doesn't anybody want to work? Because work doesn't pay. Why would you work when you get punished for working? Our country now punishes work. You make it, Trudeau takes it. I'm going to cut taxes so people bring home more of each dollar they earn. Housing. We have the fewest houses per capita in the G7. Why? Too much bureaucracy. We have the land. We have more land than any other country in the G7. Yet why do we have the fewest houses per capita? Because you can't get anything built. I'm going to require cities boost home building by 15% per year, or they're going to lose federal money. But those that beat my target will get a bonus. So we reward good behavior and punish bad. That's common sense too. We're also going to bring home safe streets. People are going to feel safe in Kelowna. Kelowna is the worst crime in all of Canada after 8 years of Trudeau and Singh.
Wow.
And
I don't think I knew that.
I'm going to bring in jail and not bail for repeat violent offenders, treatment and not decriminalize crack, to bring our loved ones home drug-free. And we're going to secure the borders to keep illegal guns out while protecting the rights of lawful, licensed hunters and sport shooters.
Going back to the drug issue, are you looking to put any money into treatment? Because that's obviously one of the big things identified.
Absolutely. I think that's a great idea. It's the only way out. Treatment is the answer. We need to bring people into beautiful treatment facilities. I think of one facility I visited in Winnipeg recently, where the father of a young man who died of an overdose has created a beautiful facility where they separate the addicts from their addiction, counseling, yoga, sweat lodges for First Nations, a fitness program, a job placement after they leave, and they're building housing right attached to the facility, so that when they graduate, we don't just throw them back out on the street. We put them in supportive housing where they can come back, get some exercise in the gym, see a counselor, and mentor incoming addicts so that they can have a nice, smooth runway to lift off again into a drug-free life.
This is obviously going to cost quite a bit, and there's staffing issues involved in this, presumably.
Yes. So my plan on that is I have a dollar for dollar principle. Every new dollar I spend will have to be matched with a dollar of savings. So I'm going to cut the money that Trudeau government is spending on giving out high-powered opioids. They call it safe supply. It's now clear that it's just being diverted and sold to kids to profit drug dealers and pay for fentanyl. Since this experiment began in BC, we've seen a 300% increase in drug overdose deaths. And
the solution for the Liberal government for drugs is pretty much, let's just supply all of the drug addicts with taxpayers funded drugs. That's the solution. And it's not working. You're seeing an increase in drug usages, an increase in overdoses, and an increase in crime, pretty much all related to the drug crisis happening here in Canada. It doesn't help that life is just so unaffordable that people are being evicted from from their landlords, or they have to sell their house, or it gets seized by the bank because they can't pay their mortgage, whatever it is. So now they're living on the streets, and you see where this is going. The only person that seems to want to actually try and solve things is Pierre Poilievre. Treatment is a very good option. And you're seeing this time and time again with different Liberal policies. It just seems like they're trying to drag things out and make it so we live in a perpetual state of chaos so that you keep voting for people that are going to provide you with false hope, which would be the Liberals. And nobody wants that. Everyone wants this to get back on track. Everyone wants Canada, or their country, but specifically we're talking about Canada. Everyone in Canada wants their own country here to thrive. We don't want to live with the highest rate of homelessness. We don't want to live with a high rate of drugs and crime and all of those things. So it's very unfortunate that Canada has ever reached this state of where it is. And, through funny videos like what we saw in the Funny Moments, it actually does help Pierre Poilievre's case. It helps him gain more popularity. And as bad as it is to say, elections are popularity contests. And the way that Pierre and his team have been going with their social media and their angle has been just perfect. It also really adds fuel to the fire, the fact that any Liberal reporter, Liberal politician is not able to penetrate that wall that Pierre has put up, which is consisting of facts, of evidence, and common sense. And so it's fantastic from a viewing standpoint, from an entertainment standpoint, and from a karma gotcha bitch standpoint, which we all love to see happen to the Liberals. So that's where I'm going to end today's video. I'd love to know what you guys think down below in the comments. A lot of people think this was staged. I think the parts that are staged would be the reporter being invited to an apple orchard. It doesn't seem like this was any sort of official press conference. It seems like they were there, they wanted the background, and so they invited Liberal reporters to ask questions. So that part is, I would barely call that stage. I would call that an invitation for the press. But nonetheless, I'd love to know what you guys think down below in the comments. There's lots of different rumors circulating on the internet. So let's see what the community's got. And that's where we're going to end it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give a like and subscribe if you haven't yet already. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye for now. Thanks so much for making it to the end of the video. If you want to support the channel financially, you can do so by checking out the merch shop linked right up there. Or if you want to do something for free, which is also absolutely acceptable and highly encouraged, you can subscribe right there. If you want to continue watching videos like this, you can do so by clicking or tapping right there to watch the next upcoming video. And if you want to watch a little bit of different content, but also Canadian stuff, you can do so by clicking right up there. That's my second channel, House of Canada, also known as the House of Commons Highlights. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.